Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 28th, ending the month here. Monday will be the first, and we're going to end up with Good Friday situation. So, end of day, coming off of the ABM yellow, nice rally into the close, and that was enough to push us right back up towards the highs. As you can see, we knew there was zero short interest, relatively speaking, to what was taking place, and we just continued to float along. And that was the DOC short-term buyers had made their pop-up, and we're just flatlined here with a compilation of the midterm buyers, long-term buyers, and shorts pretty much at a neutral zone. So no real effective resistance to any pops. And we talked about this as the holiday got closer, that you would have wild kind of like gyration, in the sense that you have an imbalance where regular players are not always around to do things. So it was a nice little pop. Nasdaq still underperforming, relatively speaking. That was because it had a strong MBI white, but you can see that's fading pretty quickly at this particular stage as well, keeping things relative neutral. I don't expect it to maintain itself this way, because we're starting to get clearer data, at least, as to difficulties within the economy. It'll be interesting to see how the bridge collapse situation will affect uh, overall growth situations, at least from that eastern corridor. But you get these little effects that take place in various parts of the country, and they can have a material impact over time. It's a little too early. Of course, treasuries dropping in yield, that's going to push money more back to the market, because again, relative yield is not reflecting the current situation with oil and what inflation is going to be, and so that literally forces the hand back into the market. So I would expect that's going to be another continued boost. Still above that 80 level, and any continued disruptions in supply and everything else are just going to have a material effect. We talked about that affecting the euro in that situation, and of course, yes, nice little plunge. And of course, they just keep making these little moves, just enough to keep it from getting unstable. And as long as it stays above that 106, they feel pretty comfortable that they're in the right range, and then try and keep it up there. Uh, will they be successful? Pretty hard to say, given the numbers that gets worse and worse coming out of the eurozone. And that's just going to be a net positive for gold, crypto. All the commodities are going to continue to be elevated by this, and as you get that subtle depreciation of the dollar. Bitcoin, and its upper side, caught right in the middle here, fighting a rising outflow situation with the MBI white trailing nicely right with the MBI magenta. But as long as magenta's ahead, you still got that positive impetus. So it's more likely to just trade across, and been weaker from an ETH standpoint, though a little bit better from an MBI reading. It's not quite pushing as hard, and the shenanigans you get with emotional movements for news related events when it comes to crypto versus gold, a little more stable, well, a lot more stable actually, relative to that situation. So you can see from our 50K, we filled in a bunch of positive extremes going all the way back to the beginning of the second half breakout. And once we refilled most of those, they'll pop right back up again. So it's just a back and forth continuation, and everything pretty much straightforward. Here's what looked intraday. So we had just weakness from the start, and pretty much traded nowhere. And then right at the end of the day, they took advantage of that liquidity situation and created a huge spike drive, and that's all it took. Now, of course, positive extremes on that going to get filled. You can see in post market not really attempting to go after it so much yet, and may not even see that with the holiday approaching. So all quiet before we end up with the holiday break, and then we'll start again on April's Fool's Day, and that will be where the excitement starts to begin. And then, of course, we'll have new inflows for fund money, and that will be an interesting allocation, because I don't see they've got many choices other than going into stocks. So that will be a fun one to watch. As always, though, anything relevant, I'll put on the Skype chat. Have a good one. Trade well.